Welcome, dear students. I am your English teacher, Axamis, and today we are going to study a lesson of Standard 9th. The name of the lesson is The Story of Tea. We all know that the most popular beverage in the world is tea. But do you all know that tea is also most widely consumed beverage in the world after water? We have seen that the botanical name of tea is Camellia sinensis. Tea holds a very important place in Indian household. It is a part of our culture to offer tea to our guests. And we know that tea is very important for Indians. Why? Because we love to drink tea often. The very first thing in the morning we do is to have a cup of tea. In this video, we are going to see how and when did people first begin to drink tea. The very first story comes from a Chinese legend. It is a very famous story in China. It is said that Emperor Shennong, as we have already seen Emperor Shennong in the photograph on the screen, he was considered as the father of Chinese agriculture and medicine. One day he was on his travels when a servant was boiling some water for the emperor to drink. As he was on his travels, he asked his servant to boil some water for him to drink. Just then, a few leaves from a nearby tree blew into the boiling water, and suddenly a few leaves from the nearby tree, it blew and fell in the boiling water. The water immediately changed color. Students, if you have ever seen how tea is made, you must be knowing that as soon as we put tea powder in water, the water changes color. And similar thing happened with the boiling water which the servant was boiling for Emperor Shennong. The water immediately changed color. On drinking the water, the emperor was amazed by the rich flavor and the refreshing quality of the resulting infusion. Now, this water, when Emperor Shennong drank, he was surprised by the rich flavor, taste, and the refreshing quality. He was extremely refreshed. He felt energetic after drinking this infusion, and infusion is the liquid which we obtained by leaving a substance in liquid for some time. Here the liquid was water, and the substance which was left in the water was leaves of tea tree. And the resulting infusion, the mixture that was obtained, was very rich in flavor and had refreshing quality. Excited by the unknown plant and its amazing flavor, he carried out further investigations, further careful examinations, further research, and discovered that tea had many healing and restorative properties. Restorative, it can make one feel better and even energetic. And it could also be used as an antidote to certain poisons. Antidote, a drug. If we mix tea leaves with certain other herbs, it can be converted into an antidote. Antidote, it is a drug to treat certain poisons. This was the first story. Let's see the second one. There is a legend that tells us that it was a Buddhist monk named Bodhidharma who was the first to use tea as a drink. If you all know, students, Bodhidharma was an Indian monk and he was Buddhist, and he was the first one to use tea as a drink. He was keen to find a herb or a medicinal plant which would help him stay awake and alert for long periods of time in prayer and meditation. He wanted to find a herb or any medicinal plant which would help him to stay awake. Why? Because most of the time he was in prayer and he used to meditate, and thereby he came across what is called as tea. After considerable search and trial, he found that chewing leaves from the tea shrub acted as a stimulant, helping him stay awake. And after considerable search, lot of search and trial and error method, he found that if we chew leaves from tea shrub, it acted as a stimulant, like a drug, a medicine, and it helps him stay awake for a longer period of time. It is said that it was he who introduced tea among his disciples in China. Later, from India, he traveled to China to spread Buddhism, and it is said that it was he who introduced tea among his students in China. So, the first story was a Chinese emperor Shennong. He discovered tea. Second story deals with a Buddhist monk named Bodhidharma who found tea as a drink. It is said that Japanese priests studying under Buddhist teachers in China carried tea seeds and leaves back home with them, and from China it got spread to Japan, and it is said that the Japanese priest who was studying Buddhism against under Chinese teacher, they carried tea seeds. Okay, on the screen you all can see how tea plant seeds look like, and they took seeds as well as leaves to Japan and started cultivating tea plant there. Turkish traders also began to bargain for tea on the border of Mongolia, and slowly and steadily tea was becoming popular in other countries as well. Turkish trader began to trade for tea on the border of Mongolia. In fact, the story goes that the Chinese emperor Yuzong was so taken up with tea that he set up a research into the best tea whisking methods and also hosted tea making and tea tasting tournaments in the court. As we can see Emperor Yuzong's photograph on the screen, it is said that he was so taken up taken up interested with tea that he set up a research into the best tea whisking, beating or moving. On the screen you all can see whisking. We whisk eggs while making omelette. Okay, so he set up a research into the best tea whisking, beating tea leaves or tea powder and then making excellent tea. And he also hosted tea making and tea tasting tournaments in the court. As we all know, we get many flavors in tea, like there are jasmine tea, there is a green tea, then there is a lemon tea, and now even we have iced tea. So it was tea tasting tournaments. So tea-minded was he that he failed to notice that Mongolia had actually taken over his empire, and Emperor Yusing was so much involved with the research that he failed to notice that Mongolia, another kingdom, had attacked him and thereby captured his kingdom. Wasn't he so tea-minded? How did this magical beverage get its name? Beverage, it is a drink other than water. The Chinese character 2 was first used in early inscription to describe tea. It is said that Chinese used to refer tea as tu. Inscription, they are the words written or engraved in something. It is basically in the book we have found that Chinese use characters like tu to describe tea. But later a new character, cha, was developed to refer specifically to tea. This cha is also a Chinese letter. The word cha is now sometimes used in English to refer to China tea. Okay, English people refer cha to denote or to talk about China tea. And as we all know, it is very close to the Hindi word chai. And we know the word cha, the character cha, is very close to our Hindi word chai, which is used all over India to refer to tea. Students, on the screen you can see tea plant. Its botanical name Camellia sinensis. Okay, it is a very famous Chinese herb. You can either use tea leaves or tea powder to make tea. How did tea first come to India? Now we have seen so many stories about China. Now let's talk about India. How did tea first come to India? Historians think that the tea had been known in India as a medicinal plant since ancient times. Historians, the people who write history, they believe that in India we were using tea as a medicinal plant. But tea was not drunk for pleasure until the British began to establish plantation in the 19th century. But we treated tea as a medicinal herb. It was only with the establishment of British Empire that they started drinking tea for pleasure, for enjoyment, and the plantation of tea started in 19th century. In the 1770s, the British East India Company made several unsuccessful attempts to grow tea in Bhutan and Assam with seeds from China. Now, British East India Company, they tried to grow tea in Bhutan and Assam with the seeds from China. As we know that climatic condition of Bhutan and Assam is favorable for the growth of tea plant. Although these attempts failed, the botanist Robert Bruce in 1823 discovered tea plants growing wild in the upper Brahmaputra valley. Botanist is a scientist who studies plant. He was also an Englishman, and he discovered in 1823 that tea plants were growing in wild. They were already in form of trees in upper Brahmaputra valley. And in May 1838, the first Indian tea from Assam was sent to England for public sale. So students, he discovered tea plants in 1823, and in 1838 the first Indian tea was sent to England for public sale. Since then, India has gone on to become one of the leading producers of tea in the world. And as you can see on the screen, we have become one of the leading producers of tea in the world. We grow and cultivate tea in ample amount, and we export it in a large quantity. So students, I hope you have understood this video. We will meet in the next video. Till then, be at home, stay safe, take care. Thank you.